Gather round, folks, as the fire crackles and the smell of kettle coffees filling the morning air. Let me take you back in time to the year of our Lord, 1869, when a ragtag crew of adventurers set out on a journey that would make history. It was dangerous, and many thought foolhardy, but in the end, it was the first known circumnavigation of the Grand Canyon by humans. His name was John Wesley Powell, a former soldier, geologist, and a man who, though he'd lost his arm in the Civil War, had the spirit of an explorer that burned brighter than most. Powell dreamed of navigating the wild, untamed Colorado River through a place that few white men had ever seen. A land of towering cliffs, dangerous waterfalls, and mysteries that no human hands, including indigenous tribes, had etched into a map. So Powell and 9 men set off from Green River Station in Wyoming on the 24th of May, 1869. They loaded 4 boats with provisions and scientific instruments, enough to last them for months, and then cast themselves into the rushing currents of the Green River, much like what we're doing now on the Colorado. While the whitewater here is not severe, this is one of the most technical parts of the river for our guide Emily. She's working overtime, raising and lowering the engine, hitting the gas and backing off, all to make sure we don't hit that island in the middle of the river. Now imagine trying to do this with a rowboat. Good job, Emily. Powell and his crew knew very little of what lay ahead, but they would soon discover the unforgiving nature of the river and the canyon it carved. Now, the first few weeks, they were met with rapids stronger than they expected, smashing their boats into rocks and drenching their supplies. Early on, they lost one of their 4 boats containing precious cargo, including food rations, all of it sinking to the bottom. Day by day, mile by mile, the canyon walls just grew higher. The red and ochre hues gleamed in the sun as if the earth itself had sliced open to reveal its secrets. They'd camp at night with the roar of rapids in their ears, unsure if tomorrow would bring smooth water or deadly torrents. The men eventually grew restless and weary. They were starving, their boats were damaged, until one day they found themselves at the biggest rapids they'd encountered thus far. And after months of hardship, 3 men, Bill Dunn and brothers Armo and Seneca Howland, decided that enough was enough. They didn't trust the river anymore and believed their best chance of survival came in climbing out of the canyon and finding help. Powell tried to convince them to stay, but their minds were set, so they parted ways and the 3 set out into the wilderness above. Powell and his remaining crew decided that dying trying was better than the alternative, so they took on the suicidal rapid, not far from where we are now, and held on for dear life. Unlike us, who got to run this rapid with the safety of a sturdy boat and an experienced guide. Powell's boats were made of wood and weighed about 800 pounds each. They were not well suited for the extreme rapids. Thankfully, Powell and his crew, waterlogged and half-drowned, did manage to survive the rapids. So they fired their guns into the air, trying to alert the men who had abandoned the camp that they should come back. But sadly, the men were never heard from again. And just days later, Powell and his crew emerged out of the canyon and back to safety. Of the canyon, Powell once said, "The wonders of the Grand Canyon cannot be adequately represented in symbols of speech nor by speech itself. The resources of graphic art are taxed beyond their powers, and attempting to portray its features, language and illustration combined, must fail."